Here we are, episode 3 on wedding etiquette. Hello, my name is Randall Edge. I'm a marriage commissioner. And today we're going to be talking about wedding vows and things to think about in the planning process when it comes to your wedding plan. So let's get to it. Now, when we're talking about a wedding, remember there are two objectives that we have. What are the two? First and foremost, this is a spiritual and legal bond between two people. That's objective one. But just as important, it's a process by which two families who now have a common bond, the couple, get to know each other. So it's an introduction. And so that is part of our integral planning when it comes to having a wedding. When we talk about getting married, there is a legal aspect to it, of course. And it's widely recognized that under international marriage law, that when a couple is married in one country, invariably they're legally recognized as married in other countries. That's certainly true in Canada. Now, there are situations in which individuals can identify themselves as being ordained ministers. And that may work in some jurisdictions, not necessarily all. Now, I'm not taking any away from organized religion. Please don't misunderstand my comments, because I have encountered over the years certain individuals who have become ordained ministers for a small fee on a credit card, and they're doing it with a little known organization over the internet. And that's fine. There's nothing wrong with becoming a spiritual leader that way, but does not necessarily mean the wedding will be legally sanctioned in the jurisdiction in which the wedding is being done. So just something to think about. I found myself in this situation several times. And whenever I get myself into one of these situations in terms of people are asking questions, I always say, well, sure, there can be your family member or your spiritual friend, and they certainly can go to the wedding service and preside over it. I have to be there. And there's certain questions that have to be asked legally, and he will or she will call on me, and I will come up quietly, ask the two questions, and then when it comes time to sign the legal documents, again, I'm called up and I will present the documents, will point where they're properly signed, and I will attend the entire wedding process. And I find that that is a workable solution to these types of situations. I've had maybe half a dozen in nearly 10 years. So I'm very, very careful about them, very cautious. And I've even changed it a little bit in that I need to instruct the couple. I will do the pronouncement, not the spiritual leader, because it's awkward. So there we are. The wedding vows, if you are selecting to have your wedding done by an ordained minister from an organized church, invariably you'll be using their script. And maybe there's some minor changes that can be made, but you'll just have to accept the script that they're working with for their vows. I can say as a marriage commissioner that there's more flexibility. The JP has to incorporate a certain set of words that are required by law in the jurisdiction in which they operate. But beyond that, there is a certain amount of flexibility that are involved. And some couples love the idea of writing their own vows, which I think is fantastic. And there's a hybrid of that. And the hybrid is that the couple writes down on paper things they want to say to each other. I collect them as the marriage commissioner. We have the ceremony, but there's a point in my ceremony where I say, and you two have now taken the time to write some special words to say to each other at this time. And then I give the note to the groom that he wants to read to the bride, and vice versa, and then I retrieve them. That we don't have to awkward places to put things, and it works out beautifully. If you're dealing with an ordained minister, of course, there can be lots of references to religious imagery. In the case of a GP, they're restricted because it's a secular appointment. They're an officer of the court. But that doesn't preclude the situation where a family member can come up and do a reading. Maybe you have a passage of the Bible that you're fond of, you're affectionate of, and there's nothing to stop a reading taking place. I've even had situations where a couple, the Islamic faith was involved, and the father wanted to come up and say words in Arabic and pose questions in Arabic and have the couple respond in Arabic. And that was good. It's great. And no problem doing that at all. And he was very, very happy. And when he was concluded, I just carried on. And because my job is to make sure the wedding solemnization ceremony meets the test of being a legally binding wedding, a marriage under the eyes of the law of the jurisdiction that I operate in. So when you're writing your own vows, some things to keep in mind. Time your vows, 10 minutes is good for each person. Try and read the vows out loud, test it, because the way we write and the way we speak are two different things. Write your notes in large print so you can physically read them on wedding day. That'd be good. And you can look for examples for inspiration, all kinds of places, in books, in the internet, all kinds of places. Agree upon the format and tone with your partner. You don't have to necessarily know what each other's going to say, but you should, really get a sense of you're going to make promises, talk about those kinds of things. Jot down notes about your relationship as they come to you, and then you can put that into your final draft. Jot down one or two or as many promises as you want. You can have a little bit of fun with this. I promise not to touch your xylophone for at least today, that kind of thing. Include a story that demonstrates the love and affection between the couple, and it's nice to avoid cliches wherever you possibly can. Some things to think about is, do you want repeats after me? And I always catch people off guard with that. And, because there are some wedding vow sets that will have words repeat after me. And certainly when it comes to the legal words required by legislation, it is a process where the officiant says the words and they have to be repeated. But you can reorganize vows into having them formed as questions, which the couple is just responding yes or I do, and a lot of couples really like that. Don't have to memorize anything. I get that. So avoid catchy, phrases from the past. Until death do us part. I think that's a bit of a cliche. I do have one wedding set of vows I have, for richer or for poor, and it's fading in popularity. For in sickness and health and well, this one is an interesting one. I've been caught a number of times, that it really brings out the emotions because there's an undertone going on that I wasn't aware of. And when I say these words, it really is impactful. So, I'm torn on that one. Some families like this traditional phrasing. Some like the, who offers this woman in marriage, and the father says, I do. That, again, is really fading away, but some people really look forward to saying that. I get that. So, if you want to compose your own vows, you can do so with contemporary concepts and ideas. It's a matter of choice. There is some interesting endings that can take place, or you can use it as beginnings. One's called the Unity Candle Service. This is when someone that is important to the family has recently passed away and is missed. And so the first people to come out are the parents of the couple, and there's a table set aside with the picture of the individual, and they light the candle, or there are 3 candles, one in the middle, and 2 smaller ones, and the couple light the smaller ones and light the one common one. It's a symbol of their new relationship, and works very, it's lovely. You can't do it outside because of wind, but works really well. From the Catholic marriage tradition, there's the rose ceremony. It brings a lot of tears to people and involves roses, and each member of the couple presents a rose to the other as the first gift of their marriage, one to the other, and they have to find a place in their home to keep roses. They have to, at their anniversary, put roses there, and whenever there's discord within the household, they will leave a rose for the other. Very tearful stuff. A fun one is hand fasting, and this is where you tie the knot, and literally. And whenever I hear someone wants to do the hand fasting finish, I always say, oh, okay, how many cords? There should be lots. How many family members are there? Oh, there's going to be 3. Oh, great. So there should be at least 50 cords, right? 50 different colors. You'll get surprised. I said, everyone comes up and places a cord around the hands of the couple, and then the couple is like this, and then they pull and it forms one big knot. They just tied the knot. It's quite a lot of fun. So, I mean, it's a great ending to a wedding service. Sand ceremony is where you get a picture frame or a glass beaker, and there's different colors of sand, and they're all poured together. Fantastic ceremony for when there's children, to bring them in at the end and make them part of the wedding service. And the beautiful aspect of this is that there's a lifetime memento left from the wedding that can be put on a wall, or in a special space where everyone can remember they were pouring the sand and they were part of the ceremony, and it's a lovely touch. So that covers our second session. I think this, I'm wrong. It's the third session. A little error there I should have fixed, but I didn't catch it. Okay, fair enough. So this is the end of the third session. There are more to come, so many more. And I look forward to, as I work my way through this series, see you again shortly.